أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم.
Considering these two, we found out that from the first point, which is verb form, it is a root verb. Rafa'a is a root verb. And on the other hand, for taraffa'a, it is what? It is a verb derived from the root verb. That is form V, a derived verb. Another point is the subject. Raise something else. So it raised something else when the subject is used. So the subject raised something else. But for taraffa'a, the particular person actually performed the action by him or herself. So we can say to elevate oneself. But for objects, in the case of rafa'a, it needs an object to complete a meaningful sentence. But taraffa'a, it usually doesn't need any object. So the tone that is reflected in these two verbs is that for rafa'a, it is physical and social honor. It is a physical and social honor in terms of tone that reflects from the verb. But taraffa'a, it is a kind of moral, ethical, or pride-based tone that reflects from the verb. So in terms of feeling, it is neutral and noble for rafa'a, and can be noble or arrogant in the case of taraffa'a. Now, the root of these two verbs is that they are derived from three letters, which are ra, fa, and ain. Both came from the same root. So they both came from what? Ra, fa, and ain, which revolves around the meaning that has to do with height, elevation, and honor. But rafa'a causes elevation. Rafa'a causes elevation. While taraffa'a, it acts as a self-caused distance elevation. In terms of grammatical part of it, when we are talking about masdar, a verbal noun, so we can say that it's for the verb of rafa'a, so that means that can be interpreted as elevation or lifting, which is also pronounced as, or which also mean in Arabic rafu'un. But taraffa'a, which is referred to as self-elevation or as abstaining, so we can say that is pronounced in Arabic as taraffu'un. An example of the usage of verbal noun in this case is to say rafu'ul alami, raising the flag, rafu'ul qalami, raising the pen. So for taraffa'a, an example of that is tarafu'uhu anil jadali. Tarafu'uhu anil jadali. Tarafu'uhu anil jadali is avoidance of argument. Tarafu'uhu anil jadali is avoidance of argument. Now, in a comparative and superlative case, which is the ismu tafdil. Ismu tafdil. So rafa'a is used as arafa'u in Arabic. So we express it as arafa'u, which means higher or more elevated. An example is this: Al-Jabalu arfa'u. Al-Jabalu arfa'u. The mountain is higher. But taraffa'a in terms of comparative or superlative, since it forms a verb which use structure, so we can express that as more self-elevated, which is said to be aktharu taraffu'an. Aktharu taraffu'an, more self-elevated. An example is this: huwa aktharu taraffu'an minhum. Huwa aktharu taraffu'an minhum. He is more self-elevated than them. He is more self-elevated than them. So another point is the real life meaning contrast. The real life meaning contrast of these two verbs. In terms of meaning, when used it in a sentence, for example, rafa'a Allahu qadrahu. Allah raised his status. Rafa'a Allahu qadrahu. Allah raised his status. Or for taraffa'a, we can also say taraffa'a anil ghibati. Taraffa'a anil ghibati. He abstained from backbiting. So this is internally action which from its own self occurred. So in summary, for the future of the two verbs, a verb form is a basic verb. That is, rafa'a is a basic verb in terms of verb. For the other, it's a reflexive verb. It's derived from rafa'a. For the verbal noun, so it is pronounced as rafa'un for the case of rafa'a. For taraffa'a, we say taraffu'un. Then for the ismu tafdil, the superlative and comparative case, so for rafa'a we say arafa'u, but taraffa'a we say aktharu taraffu'an. Aktharu taraffu'an. So in terms of meaning, rafa'a takes to raise someone. So rafa'a means to raise someone or something. But taraffa'a to elevate oneself or rise above something. So emotional tone from this is always reflecting respectful or honor tone in terms of rafa'a. But taraffa'a, it also reflects dignified or prideful. Someone to be prideful or dignified. So object in terms of the two verbs, rafa'a takes an object, while taraffa'a does not need any object. Final thoughts from this topic. In Arabic, rafa'a shows what you lift, but taraffa'a shows what you leave behind. Rafa'a shows what you lift, but taraffa'a shows what you leave behind. One builds your word, while the other builds your character. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you do, please hit the subscribe button and share it to your loved ones for more interesting updates, and we'll meet in the next lesson. Bye for now.